Swaxe underwent big changes compared to the previous games and even the OBT versions. Let's start with the preliminary basics. Power files add 17% more attack, element files add 45% more element, and exhaust files can force monsters into their drooling or strafing animations and can KO monsters by hitting heads. Dragon files add dragon element to sword only, and para and poison files add their respective status to sword mode only. File ticks of these files are guaranteed to inflict their status as opposed to the typical 10 and 30 chance, according to datamines at least. Exhaust, dragon and status files are untested in their effectiveness, because I'm largely concerned with meta playstyles, so keep that in mind. One big nerf to the two big files, power and element respectively, is that they no longer apply as a post modifier, but only affect your base stats now. Simplified, 200 raw in axe means you have 234 raw in sword. Adding might seed and demon powder for plus 20 raw only buffs sword raw to 254 instead of getting an additional scaling by the file. The whole kit crits, or at least the important parts do. While Swaxe has many moves, only a few of them are not overshadowed by full release slash. The number one priority on Swaxe is obtaining amp mode, which grants file ticks to every sword attack, as well as unlocking full release and CSD, the latter of which is not really used anymore. Files amp at different rates. Power amps the slowest and element amongst the fastest. Power files take approximately 2 double slash into heavenward combos, or 2 counters and 1 heavenward. Element files take approximately 1 double slash into heavenward combo, or 1 counter and a bit of sword attacks, or 1 heavenward. The main damage combo Swaxe uses in wilds is from sword, full release, spiral burst, morph rising double slash. Full release on its attacking part has a built-in Rocksteady effect, making it a relatively easily spammable move that also overshadows the entire kit with its damage. Note that while the game doesn't tell you this, you can full release out of almost every sword attack and from neutral. Attack in axe mode generates sword gauge, but it's overall pitiful amounts except for spiral burst, which by itself gives you enough meter to never be left wanting for sword gauge. Rising slash combo is our second strongest combo, but it might be stronger than full release spam while under the effect of Frenzy Mantle. The sword mode counter is a 360-degree counter that, when executed perfectly, does not consume sword gauge, and is an incredibly safe and comfy option provided the monster does not have follow-ups to the move that you counter. X mode has an offset on the former upswing. You can imagine offset to work like a status, where you need to reach a certain amount of them to successfully inflict it. The follow-ups for offset are either heavy slam or a singular strong sword hit and a strong file tick regardless of amp state. Unless you're desperate for sword gauge, the follow-up should always be the sword one. Offsets that don't achieve offset stage, i.e. the second time used it successfully on the same monster, can still be followed up by a heavy slam, but not by the sword hit. Similarly, Focus Strike has 2 options, axe ends in heavy slam, sword in a discharge, the latter of which can be followed up with a full release. Use axe only when you're simultaneously out of amp and out of gauge. A sword deals approximately twice as much damage. You can morph in between each sequence of hits between axe and sword, but that isn't really worth it as sword is just that much better. Lastly, power axe gained by using any of the heavy slams grants plus 10 flat raw only in axe mode. There are a lot of other moves in Swaxe's kit. Should you use most of them? Nah, I'd full release.